If these old cypress boards could speak, what would they say? Folk artist Henry Watson gives them a voice, sculpting their stories with a mallet and chisel.
I'm trying to save that bygone area of not just washing away and not have any history of it. I'm putting it into 100-year-old wood where you can still look at it every day.
Henry searches the back roads of Louisiana for old buildings on the verge of being lost to history and salvages the wood to turn into canvases for his 3D artwork.
So I start with a blank board like this, and I start just imagining what was there. And you see that I love the trees because the trees was a very important part of life. So all of the historical homes and buildings is all built on these huge oak trees or these huge pecan trees. And these trees will have moss hanging down and drip there from them. And all of that captivated me, you know, those days of old. And when I get this wood from these old buildings, the first thing I start thinking about is what would fit the board and how I could tell that story.
The self-taught artist began carving cypress wood in high school in his hometown of Livonia. Today, his works are on display around the world, chronicling Louisiana's landscapes, building, and people, making him a sort of cultural ambassador. His painting of the Pope sits in the Vatican. This piece is his last remaining work, sold at the 1984 World's Fair. Henry also connects with thousands of travelers to Louisiana, arriving on riverboat cruises that stop at his New Road studio.
I've been chiseling and beating with this for over 40 years. So you gotta know, with 40 years of hitting and chiseling, this side at some point is gonna be this side. And when that happens, this mallet is gonna be retired. So it's almost like how many licks it takes to get to the center.
So the mallet is going to retire, but are you going to retire?
Henry draws inspiration from Louisiana landscapes, history, and heritage. As we walk the grounds of Butler Greenwood Plantation Bed and Breakfast, a place he retreats to from time to time to work in solitude, he talks about his muses.
I'm thinking about how things would have been 100 years ago. I get inspired by just looking at the trees and the home itself, and even the plants and things that's around it. I mean, it all tells a story. My job as a wood carver is to capture those memories and those stories. Look at this. This is Louisiana at its finest.
Wow. There's a lot of it on the property, too.
All over. This place is just draped with it.
Here, on the grounds of this early 19th century plantation, under the canopy of ancient moss-draped oaks, Henry hears the landscape whispering more stories to tell, etched in the wood of Louisiana's official state tree.
Somewhere tucked away is a little cabin or old barn with that wood. I could continue to tell a story of South Louisiana. Everybody's becoming where they grew up, where they come from. But when I put it in this 100-year-old wood, it's going to live on forever.